Senator Butler,
Present.
Senator Lankarani,
Present.
Senator Iden,
Present.
Senator Lala,
Present.
Senator Kada,
Present.
Senator Suk,
Present.
Senator Corlew,
Present.
Senator Corsandi, Senator Jha,
Present.
Senator McClintock,
Present.
Senator Martinez,
Present.
Senator Wang. Oh, sorry. Old version. Senator Habas,
Present.
Senator Brenderson,
Present.
Senator Wahidullah,
Present.
Senator Amin,
Present.
Senator Siddiqui,
Present.
Senator Al-Khatib, Senator Ganesh, Senator Singh, Senator Ola Laitan, Senator Malhis, Senator Chaudhry,
Present.
Senator Dali, and Senator Valenzuela.
Present.
All right, now moving into excused absences.
Really quickly.
Senator Amin,
Senator Horsandi is in the waiting room. So she's here, but for some reason she's just not here.
oh, sorry, I wasn't aware that we had a waiting room. I think that she may be on the wrong Zoom link.
Okay, I'll let her know. She said she clicked the one that's on the agenda.
Okay, well, the one on the agenda, as far as I'm aware, is the correct one.
Have her refresh. Oops.
Do you have two devices logged in, Marissa? Okay, we'll move on. Senator Lankarani,
Senator Corlew is here. He's just having some trouble with audio, but he is present in the meeting.
okay, thank you. Senator Wahidullah,
Motion to excuse Senator Ganesh for the entirety of the meeting.
there's been a motion to excuse Senator Ganesh for the entirety of the meeting. Do we have a second, Senator Lankarani?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We are now in discussion. Senator Kadal,
Call to question.
question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right. Senator Lankarani?
Motion to excuse Senator El-Khatib for the entirety of the
Okay, hold up. All right. Motion passes. I thought you had an objection. Motion passes to excuse Senator Ganesh for the entirety of this meeting. Senator Lankarani?
Motion to excuse Senator El-Khatib for the duration of the meeting.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Al-Khatib for the duration of this meeting. Do we have a second? Senator Kada?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Kada. We are now in discussion. Senator Lala, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'll call the question.
Oh, question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right. Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Lala?
Motion to excuse Senator Chaudhry after 8:30 p.m.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Chaudhry after 8:30 p.m. Do we have a second? Senator Kada?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Kada. We are now in discussion. Senator Lankarani?
Call to question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections? All right, seeing none, motion passes. Let's see. Yes, Senator Iden?
Sure, are you still okay with me doing my report at the beginning of the meeting?
Yeah, we just need to wrap up excuse absences and then yeah. La 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 la. Senator Amin?
Senator Horsandi is here, but she is not here as a panelist.
Okay, I just promoted her as a panelist.
Would you like me to motion to add her to the agenda?
Oh no, it's fine. We can just add her if she was here. That's fine. I am going to yield chairship to Senator Siddiqui. I'm getting a call from back home and I've been going through some family stuff. So chairship has been yielded momentarily to Senator Siddiqui.
Senator Lonkarani?
I'm looking at the roll call and it says Senator Corsandy is present but late. Can we can I motion to have her written in as on time, because it was just a panel thing. I think she was here on time.
On the agenda to make sure she's marked there on time. We don't
Thank
have to. I'm accepting motions. Senator Amin,
Motion to move into Senator Iden's Senate report.
is there a second on the motion? Senator Gerson,
Second.
do I hear a call to question? Senator Chaudhry,
Call to questions.
do I hear any objections to the call to question? Any objections to the consent? Hearing none, motion passes. You may begin.
Sweet. Just give me one moment. All right, everyone. Appreciate you all being here, hearing me out. So, over this past year, there's been a weight on my conscience that I can no longer bear in silence. I've come forward with evidence of wrongdoings by members of this body to the Office of the Attorney General under good faith that whistleblower protections would be respected, and I did so out of concern for potential retaliation that could follow. Unfortunately, that protection and privacy was violated for not only myself, but also for other individuals who had been involved in the investigative process. A member of this body obtained access to internal investigative materials within the Office of the Attorney General and shared them with a variety of parties, such as professional staff, news sources, and other senators, in what both undermines the integrity of the legal process and compromises the confidentiality that is essential to a free and fair investigation. Here, I'm going to focus on the facts and the principles that brought me to speak out in the first place regarding the egregious behavior I've witnessed, which I find to be characteristic of discrimination, harassment, and bullying. This information is documented, and I now place it before the body. When we all ran for Senate, we did so out of frustration. Frustration between the disconnect between our representatives and the students they serve, as well as the way in which power is being abused. In many of our campaigns, we all spoke openly about the toxic culture we had witnessed from the Senate. A culture that favored performative politics over progress, a silencing of student voices, and a lack of accountability. Many, if not all of us, ran because we firmly believed that we could challenge that culture from within. When my fellow representatives and I were ultimately elected, we all took the same oath. An oath to reject abusive conduct and bullying, to hold ourselves and others accountable, and to engage in reconciliation when wrongdoings occur. We swore freely, without reservation, knowing that violations might carry serious consequences, including dismissal from our duties. This oath is more than just some ceremonial procedure. It's a commitment we all made to the undergraduates of UCSB, a pledge to lead with integrity, to refuse silence in the face of misconduct, and to do what's right even when it's difficult, unpopular, or costly. As senators, we should honor it today and every day to restore trust in the Senate and in the students we serve. What I've witnessed over the course of this year, the culture, the conduct, the silence, has only reaffirmed what I knew from the start. If no one speaks up, nothing changes. I did not take this step lightly. I understood the weight of bringing this information forward and the consequences it could have, not just for myself, but for the integrity of this institution and its members. However, I also understood that staying silent would be a deep betrayal of both the students I swore to serve and of my own moral belief system. I speak now because accountability begins with truth, and while this may be uncomfortable, truth is what this association and the undergraduate students we are tasked with to represent deserve. On April 27th, 2024, following our election, I was met with the message, Senate group chat, add anyone I forgot, after being added to an Instagram group chat called Senate Shenanigans, which consisted of 17 senators and the internal vice president. Because those 17 members constitute a majority, the chat effectively functioned as a quorum meeting body. Any discussion there should have been minted and made open to the public. Yet, its creators deliberately left out 7 of our elected colleagues, which I allege was due to ideological reasons and to keep certain conduct within the chat hidden. The chat, which functioned as de facto minutes, operated entirely off the official record. This chat had been viewed by 17 senators for nearly an entire year, and the information I bring forward is not new to any of them. 70% of the Senate, throughout the vast majority of the year was privy to all the information I will be discussing. From the onset, the exclusion was more than an oversight. It was both intentional and extremely unsettling. A governing body's first private act should never be to decide who gets to participate in deliberations. As messages accumulated, my unease deepened. The chat became a venue for strategizing Senate business, lobbying votes, and most troubling of all, a space to ridicule colleagues for their perceived political or religious views. At one point, Senator Lankarani pushed for Senator Amin to be, quote, removed or muzzled ASAP, an attempt to stifle an elected representative whose position on
Point of order, Sean, I'm gonna have to ask here, is it okay to mention specific allegations like this?
Point of order, Chair. I have a point of order.
Yes, Senator Zhang.
Thank you, Chair. Senator Iden hides a flaw and unless another senator makes a point of order, he should continue to speak uninterrupted. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Zah. I understand, and please have patience with me because I'm trying to chair this meeting in a very impartial way. I'm just
You can
asking
yield.
Ruben's guidance because the last time specific allegations were brought up, we shut the meeting down. So that's why I was asking. I yield chairship back to IVP Pinto.
Thank you.
point of order, I have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said,
Oh,
all these allegations.
Overruled
they're-
because we have admin that would like to speak and provide information. We asked admin for information.
That's not appropriate. This is a body
So,
for elected representatives.
I appeal the decision of the chair.
Marissa?
Just wanted to remind everybody that we have multiple professional staff in the room who are responsible employees. And I want to recall and remind everybody that anything that you share here obviously means that we are not confidential employees, and anything that is shared here, we have a responsibility to report as necessary. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that. If you're sharing anything in that vein, but also be mindful about sharing. I mean, this is a choice, but you all haven't established how you're going to interact today. And I don't know if it needs to be some group expectations about what is shared and how we share. Just very mindful of previous instances of doxing. This is a public and publicly shared and is streaming currently. So I just want to remind folks of that. And Senator Iden, I totally and completely agree. You have the right to speak as you need to, as your student government. I'm not trying to take that from you. I'm asking you to be very mindful. As we're talking about ethical responsibilities, these are things that I need you to be mindful of as well. So, and there are other stuff. I believe Joaquin is here. Emma Parker is also here, Sean, myself, and Holly. So if you have questions or need to chat any of us, please chat with us on the side. Thank you all.
Great. So I hold the floor.
If there are any further concerns, like in terms of interpersonal conflict, harassment, and bullying, I would ask you to take this in the avenue that Marissa has suggested.
Point of order, Chair.
And
point of order, I hold the floor.
Point of order.
I am asking you very gently because we have had instances of students getting harassed and doxxed. This is not the floor to further that. You have just mentioned that there was a toxic culture of that. And I think that we should follow staff's guidance in this matter and lead with that. If you would like to mention that parties are making these comments, you can go ahead, but I would ask you to be mindful. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm asking you to do so. Is that understood?
Again, I hold the floor. I appreciate it. And my reasonings I've already been pursuing through the appropriate avenues, but I have reasons that I'm bringing this body to this information to the body.
I understand,
because this
but
information
if this
was
is an instance of
distributed.
harassment and bullying, this does fall
again, I'm
under
speaking.
the campus's regulations and policies, and we have to respect that as students within the institution.
Point of
Do you
order, Chair.
understand that?
Point of order, Chair.
Yeah, Senator Jha.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, under all the relevant campus policy and the Robert's Rules of Order that this body adopts through legal code, there is no restriction on what kind of speech or what content of the speech is permitted or not. And any attempt violation would be a direct violation to Senator Iden's First Amendment right. We are here streaming this meeting, so I'll be very mindful of that. And Senator Iden has the floor. I yield.
Go ahead, Senator Iden.
Thank you. All right, I will be starting from my last paragraph. From the onset, the exclusion felt like more than an oversight. It was both intentional and unsettling. A governing body's first private act should never be to decide who gets to participate in deliberations. As messages accumulated, my unease deepened. The chat had become a venue for strategizing Senate business, lobbying votes, and most troubling all, a space to ridicule colleagues for perceived political or religious views. At one point, Senator Lankarani pushed for Senator Ami to be, quote, muzzled or removed ASAP, an attempt to stifle an elected representative whose positions on Israel-Palestine and the BDS legislation had diverted from the majority of the room. Similarly, soon after this, the internal vice president proposed removing Attorney General Carlson's appointment, which was met with clarification that they would need a 2/3 vote to do so. This was not for absenteeism or misconduct, but for the crime of being a perceived Zionist ally. Such language crossed the line from normal debate and went into the realm of harassment and abuse of power, all in an effort to weaponize the supermajority to punish viewpoint differences. Thankfully, this power was not weaponized in these instances, but the fact that the nonpartisan internal vice president and members of the body even brought this up is incredibly disturbing. The hostility in the chat did not end there. When a separate group chat called Elected for a Purpose, which was also used as a coordinating point, had become breached by an unaccepted member, the internal vice president wrote, y'all, delete your messages on Elected for a Purpose now, with others saying, just unsend everything and stop typing. All of this signaling a coordinated attempt to erase evidence before it could reach an entity that would hold them accountable. This occurred in another chat as well, with members saying, remember to start using this or the Elected for a Purpose chat to discuss stuff. Need to let the other chat die out. Way too much evidence of us breaking the election rules. This impulse to erase displayed a clear recognition among those urging the purge. What had been said would not withstand public opinion or legal code. As the year went on, the tone of the chat only hardened to what I find to be the most egregious moment. In late November, a photo was sent to the chat that displayed a hallway bulletin in the Multicultural Center that contained the faces of all elected officials. A poster had been slapped over the Senate's portion, completely blocking the faces of Senator Jasmine Amin and Leah Horsandi. The initial message applauded whoever had covered their photo, with the internal vice president indicating it was likely use and staff. Senator Siddiqui, who submitted the photo, said, way intentional for it to be staff. If it is, that's hilarious. I'm imagining them listening to all the messages when they're in the building and coming to the conclusion they hate them too. Following this, the internal vice president assured them that the staff at the MCC are with the shits, indicating a shared sentiment against Senators Amin and Horsandi. These are individuals entrusted to represent every undergraduate, celebrating the literal erasure of two colleagues' faces because they hold different political views. Seeing others celebrate the covering of Jasmine and Leah's photos was disturbing enough, but watching the internal vice president, the elected official charged with presiding impartially over the Senate and represent all undergraduates, join the ridicule, boasting that their friends at the MCC are with the shits, was extremely disappointing. It is the IVP's constitutional mandate and role to be nonpartisan, to facilitate inclusive discussion, and to safeguard the integrity of Senate proceedings. Instead, the highest voice in the room validated an act meant to silence dissenting opinions and erase their presence. This was not the only moment when discourse sank below decency. Throughout the year, whenever Attorney General Carlson appeared before the Senate, whether at the president's request or of his own initiative to clarify legal code procedure, the chat would light up with jeers about his physical stature rather than the substance of his speech. Former Senator Dominic Wang once stated, why is his little ass talking like he can take the fight to anybody at all? And at another time said, he does too much for a small man. Ridiculing any person's physical features has no place in civil deliberations. This is a textbook breach of Standing Policy 1, which clearly prohibits egregious or repeated insulting language directed at an individual. Yet again, the internal vice president, the one tasked with maintaining decorum and neutrality, allowed the mockery to stand unchallenged. The messages I've shared here are only a portion of what I'd witnessed. I only shared moments that I found to be some of the worst. Viewing all this day after day left me both conflicted and ashamed because I hesitated to say anything. This hesitation has weighed on me and to Jasmine, Leah, and Eric, and every student who had expected better of the Senate. I owe an apology. I saw what happened to dissenting opinions of this body and the way individuals were treated, and I chose to remain silent. I realized at this point in time that my silence only protected these patterns of misconduct, not those who were its targets. To my fellow senators, I'd like to speak honestly. Many of you read these messages in real time. 70% of you, actually. Some of you laughed, some added their own jokes, and many, like me, said nothing at all. I understand how easy it is to write off crude remarks as one-off comments, to scroll past it, and to assume someone else is going to push back. But when a majority of the body consisting of 17 voices lets any form of discrimination, harassment, or bullying slide, it's no longer one-off. It's a setting of precedent, and when it happens again and again, it becomes culture. Our words carry weight precisely because of the power we hold as elected officials. They shape who feels welcome in the room, who trusts us, who trusts our decision-making, and who decides it's safer to stay silent outside of these doors. Snide comments about someone's faith, politics, or body may have felt like throwaway lines in a closed chat, but they land like blows on the people named and every student who shares their identity or viewpoint. The consequences of actions such as these are not just, it's a Senate that loses moral authority and legitimacy in the eyes of the undergraduates we claim to serve. So I come to this body with one request. Let this be the line we draw. Speak up when you see misconduct, correct it in the moment, and refuse to join in simply because your friends are doing it. I am outraged that a group chat of 17 senators, 70% of the body, has let this slide for an entire year, and I do not intend to leave our standards for accountability and conduct at this level before the next Senate terms in. Both ourselves and future representatives need to understand that this is not an appropriate way to act. We have completely failed to uphold our oath, our legal code, and the bare minimum of human decency. I initially never intended to come public with this information. I used the proper internal channels as outlined in legal code to protect the privacy, identity, and dignity of everyone involved. Unfortunately, though, this opportunity was taken from me when Senator Siddiqui decided to parade an internal investigation to professional staff, other senators, and the Daily Nexus, who conveniently has failed to report on any of this. I bring this information here to set the record straight, to prevent rumors from filling the vacuum as to why I brought this information forward, and to anchor this conversation in verifiable facts and this conversation in verifiable facts before others continue to try and twist the narrative. Bringing this way to the floor was the only way that I can ensure this comes from me and not anybody else. And I truly hope this is a learning moment from us all. I don't believe anyone here is a bad person. Good people can stumble, but it's up to you to ensure that you get back up and on the path of decency. I do really appreciate you all listening, and I hope we can make this right. Thank you. And I'll not be taking questions.
All right. Since they won't be taking questions, we'll kind of just move on. Yes, Senator Havas?
Sorry, I had a death in my family recently and I'm kind of having a hard time. Would someone be able to motion to excuse me, possibly?
Yeah. Senator Wahidullah?
Motion to excuse Senator Havas for the entirety of the meeting.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Habas for the entirety of the meeting. Do we have a second? Senator Chaudhry?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Chaudhry. We are in non-discussion. Senator Kada?
Call to question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. Moving on. Sending you a lot of love, Lily.
Thank
all
you.
right. Moving on. Let's go into okay. Let's go into public forum. Holly, do you have that list ready?
Yes, the first person on the list is Charlie, and the topic is election questions. So I will go ahead and move Charlie over.
Yes.
We only have two, so for anyone on the attendees who wishes to speak at public forum, the link is in the chat, or message me if you're having any issues.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right. I'm assuming Charlie is present and here. Wave, raise a hand if you're here. All right, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna read to you the speaking agreements and then you have the floor. So you have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please say your name, pronouns, and enunciate, but refrain from yelling. Speculation of a senator's intentions and abilities is prohibited and will result in strikes. 3 strikes will be removed from the ability to speak on the floor. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning if it'll be graphic. You may only come up once. You may choose to not answer questions. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right. You have the floor. Go ahead.
I didn't really prepare a speech. I just wanted to ask some questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
So, are there like senators who are assigned to be in charge of elections?
No. So, usually what the Senate does is we approve the ballot and then elections that goes back to elections board and then elections continue.
Okay, I haven't received an email this year to participate in the election, and I think some other students have experienced the same thing. Have any senators here been able to vote?
Oh, so voting has not it has not started yet. We still have yet to approve the ballot because there is currently a judicial council case that has kind of halted the electoral process.
Oh, when will that conclude?
We're not sure. The hearing is this Friday.
Okay, I think a lot of students are under the impression that like the election was like canceled or anything because no one received an email for any of this.
Yeah, it wasn't canceled. It's kind of just been stopped for the moment until we have more clarity on what's going on. If our staff would like to give any information, Holly?
Yeah, I think we may have all raised our hand for the same thing. Just letting you know, Charlie, that the elections board has submitted for a university-wide announcement to go out about the judicial council injunction. So we were hoping by the end of the day today, but it looks like by tomorrow you should have an email with more information in your inbox. But we have had some delays in getting the announcements out. That's why it hasn't gone up.
I see, okay. And then there were like some procedures with the election that I was hoping the Senate could consider changing. Would this have to be like submitted by a senator or could a member of the public recommend something?
I mean, if you'd like to recommend something, we can forward it over to elections board, but we do not oversee that process. We kind of just oversee the exception of the entire electoral supplement and then it goes out. But if you have anything you'd like to say.
Wait, so the Senate controls the electoral supplement?
Well, we don't control it, we more so approve it.
So then who controls it?
Um, I guess we also add things onto it. But I think it really just depends on your question. Senator Lala.
So the elections
Yeah.
at ASU CSB, I should email them?
Charlie, if I could ask real quick, first off, thanks for joining us. If you could clarify the question, it might really help because to put it a bit more concretely, it is Senate that is the legislative institution of this association. So we do put down the legal code and the bylaws that govern how elections are carried out, but the actual execution, the administration is done by elections board. So it's not exactly clear what your change would be. It could be either something that would take a legal code change, which would go through us and is obviously a much longer process, or maybe it's something in the execution of the election, which would go through elections board. But if you could share it with us, what it would be, we might be able to better help.
Okay, yeah. So I noticed that I looked through the records on your website. I think in the last 15 years, there has almost never been any con statements submitted. I think I read through all of the records. There were like usually maybe two or three pro statements every year, especially for like fee reaffirmations or like new spending lock-ins, but I don't recall ever seeing a con statement on any of them. So what I would recommend then is that I don't know if this would fall within the Senate or if there would be some other staff that writes this, but someone would write a con statement for every measure that's missing a con statement but has a pro statement.
All right, thank you. I think it is up to whoever has like put those up to write both a pro and a con statement.
Well, but I mean,
Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
but the people who write these measures want them to pass, right? So they would write a pro statement, but not a con statement.
Yeah. I mean, the con, especially when we're talking about student fees, it's just like the con would be the program, the department that is asking for this fee increase or student fee, they would just not receive that. And they could be subject to like potentially shutting down.
Yeah, so I guess the question is like, who would I have to contact or sort of nudge to change this?
Yeah, so as Holly wrote in the chat, you could contact elections board. Yeah,
So
I
this,
would suggest reaching out to them. And then
and
they would reach out to the
elections
department.
board, is that like a group of students or university staff or?
No, it's a group of students. They're also a part of AS. They're just in the they have their own board that makes their own decisions on the electoral process.
I see. Okay, thank you.
And we're also at time. Do you have any further questions? Because we could also like motion to extend your time if you'd like.
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Moving on to our next.
Our next speaker is Mickey, so I will add you to the panel next.
Holly, how do we remove people as panelists? I'm sorry, I'm like a little bit confused on how to do that.
No, it's okay. If you click on the three dots next to like mute or ask to unmute, there's a spot there. I am doing it. It just takes a second to get everyone added and removed, but thank you everyone for your patience. But I think Mickey should be added now.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi,
Can you guys
Mickey.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Give
perfect.
me a second because I need to read out the.
I think you're on mute.
Yes, I was muted. Sorry, I accidentally clicked mute. I just have to read my little spiel and then you can speak freely. So you have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please state your name, pronouns, and enunciate, but refrain from yelling. Speculation of a senator's intentions and abilities is prohibited and will result in strikes. 3 strikes and will be removed from the ability to speak on the floor. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning if it'll be graphic. You may only come up once and you may choose to not answer questions. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right, you have the floor.
Hello everyone. Thank you for giving me the time to speak today. My name is Mickey and I'm here representing East African Students Association, or ESA, here at UCSB. I'm the president. I'd like to take a few moments to share an exciting opportunity for our organization and to respectfully request your support in making it a reality. We're currently preparing to attend the annual ESA conference, which will be held this year at San Jose State University this weekend. This conference is more than just a gathering. It's a powerful platform for cultural celebration, connection, and community empowerment. It brings together East African student organizations from across California to share experiences, build relationships, and strengthen the voices of students from underrepresented backgrounds. For many of our members, this conference represents one of the few spaces where they can see their heritage reflected and valued within the broader landscape of higher education. It's a place where we feel seen, heard, and uplifted, and where we're able to collaborate with peers who share similar cultural roots and social challenges. At UCSB, this East African community is small but is vibrant, passionate, and deeply invested in building meaningful connections, both on campus and beyond. By participating in this conference, we're not just showing up for ourselves, we're showing up for future students, building bridges, and putting UCSB on the map as a campus that supports and celebrates East African identity. We estimate that approximately 18 UCSB students will be attending this year's conference. However, in order to make this trip possible, we are in need of financial support. The total projected cost is around $5,700, which includes hotel accommodations, which is $3,000, meals for attendees, $1,500, travel expenses, including van rental and gas, would be $1,000, and custom T-shirts with UCSB branding will be 200. While we understand that this request comes on somewhat short notice, we generally believe that this is a unique and timely opportunity that aligns deeply with the mission of associated students, especially the mission of bodies like the Black Women's Health Collaborative, which seek to uplift and advocate the health, wellness, and visibility of Black students at UCSB. Our participation in this conference is not just about representation, it's about empowerment, it's about affirming our cultural identities, building leadership capacity within our community, and forging the kind of statewide coalitions that allow us to bring new ideas and perspectives back to UCSB.
All right, hold up. You're at time. Would anyone like to motion to extend the speaker's time? Senator Lankarani?
Motion to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes.
There's been a motion to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes. Do we have a second? Senator Kada?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Kadab. We are now in discussion.
Oh, I could keep going.
Oh, no, hold up. Senator Valenzuela?
Call to question.
Question has been called. Do you have any objections? Seeing none, motion passes. You have 5 more minutes, Nikki. Go ahead.
Okay. Currently, ESA does not have a seal account, but we're more than willing to work with any administrative body or process to ensure that documentation, reimbursements, and logistics are handled smoothly and transparently. We are fully committed to making this as easy and collaborative as possible. With that, I want to express my deepest appreciation for your time, your consideration, and the work you all do to support student organizations like ours. We sincerely hope this request can be placed on the agenda for tomorrow's or for today's meeting. And we look forward to possibly partnering with AS to help make this important experience a reality for our members. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So I would ask that you please email me the line items exactly like how you detailed, like this amount of money for this purpose. My email is, oh my God, why do I always forget my email? It's internalvp at as.ucsb.edu. So just email me those line items and yeah, we'll see if we can make that work. But usually, are you an RCO? Like, are you registered
Yes.
as a SEAL organization? Okay. I would definitely, if this gets approved today, reach out to someone from finance and business, get those authorized signers workshop in. It's a really, really short deadline. So there's a possibility that we might have to do this retroactively. And student orgs have done that in the past, but it's really hard. Especially because we work, in an institution. There's a lot of like bureaucratic processes. But just make sure to send those line items and someone later on can motion it on to action items and we can deliberate further. But thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. I had one question. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what you wanted me to do was send the cost of everything like that I just said. So send the cost, and then we are RCO, so we have that. Is there anything else that you wanted me to do, or just send that?
Just send those and I can send you like kind of like an instruction guide later on to how you'll navigate that process of getting your authorized signers through and then having an account established with AS.
Okay. The only thing is, we're leaving tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow, Friday, because it's this weekend. So it would still work, right?
Y'all would need to attend an authorized signers workshop like tomorrow, pretty much.
Okay.
And it would need to be 3 members of your organization.
Okay. Is there one happening tomorrow?
You would have to reach out to finance and business or finance committee members and see if any of them are available tomorrow. There are some here right now. And maybe they can reach out to you later. But yeah, just make sure to send those line items first and foremost, and we can continue conversations. And if is accepted by the Senate body to approve that money, I personally can't vote. But then we'll kind of go into that process of getting the authorized signers workshop and getting that account number through.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. All right, Holly, who is next?
Yes, quick question. So, Ming-Jen is next. Do you have the practice of having a senator go last?
Yeah, I can go last.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can
We
do
have,
that. If they're-
Josie next. I think that's how you say their name. So sorry, Ming-Jen, I just want to clarify who we needed to go next. So
Yeah.
Josie next, and then Ming-Jen will be you.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. So Hi. You have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please say your name, pronouns, and enunciate but refrain from yelling. Speculation of a senator's intentions and abilities is prohibited and will result in strikes. 3 strikes may be removed from the ability to speak on the floor. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning if it'll be graphic. You may only come up once and you may choose to not answer questions. Do you agree?
I agree.
All right. You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Josie Penix, and I'm a member of the Judicial Council. I'm here on behalf of the council to state for the record that while we have been made aware of a bill on the Senate floor concerning the honoraria of the Judicial Council, we wanted to make it clear that we did not request the bill and it is not a quid pro quo. We're not implying that the senators proposing this legislation are aiming to sway us or any other allegation of impropriety. Instead, we feel it's important to clarify our role in this situation to the public, given the certain actions of the Judicial Council recently. The Judicial Council recognizes our categorization as a BCU, and we leave it up to the discretion of the Senate to proceed. That's all. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
I don't.
All right. Would you be open to taking questions?
At this time, I wouldn't like to comment on anything else other than the bill, but if there's a question about the bill, then sure.
Okay. Senator Shaw?
Chair, I don't really have a question, but would you permit me to make a comment on
Go
this
ahead.
bill? Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so as the first on this bill, this has nothing to do with the ongoing situation of anything. I've had this idea ever since I left the council towards the end of the winter quarter, and that's been in the work. So just want to make it on the record. It has nothing to do with anything that's going on. Thank you, Chair.
All right, cool. Thanks so much for coming in, Josie. All right, so moving into our next speaker, since I know it's Mingjian, let's go ahead and read speaking agreements. So you have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please say your name, pronouns, and enunciate but refrain from yelling. Speculation of a senator's intentions and abilities is prohibited but will result in strikes. 3 strikes may be removed from the ability to speak on the floor. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include content warning if it'll be graphic. You may only come up once and you may choose to not answer questions. Do you agree?
I agree.
Go.
Thank you, Chair. I do not have a speech prepared because I don't expect I'll be really speak much tonight. So I'll ask you to forgive me. Not that well organized, but still, why we just move on from what Senator Iden have said? What have been alleged in the group chat? It's shocking, frustrating, and frankly unacceptable. Why we just move on from what it's? Why we just move on from it as nothing has been said? Why? I yelled, and I will not be taking questions.
All right, thank you. I think it's partly because Senator Iden did not allow room for discussion. But
You can do it now, Chair.
I'm sorry, Senator Iden?
If you'd like to have a discussion, we can do it. We can go back into senator's reports.
Okay. If time permits, because we do have a really packed agenda today. And we are kind of expecting Michael to hop on in a little bit to talk about budget stuff for next year, which is always really, really long conversation. Okay, so next is Senator Corsendi speaking.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Oh.
I have to read her speaking agreement, sorry. You have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please say your name, pronouns, and enunciate but refrain from yelling. Speculation of a senator's intentions and abilities is prohibited and will result in strikes. 3 strikes may be removed from the ability to speak on the floor. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include content warning if it'll be graphic. You may only come up once. You may choose to not answer questions. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
I just kind of wanted to echo Senator Zhaw's statements. And I'm going to keep this brief. I just kind of want to share with my fellow senators about what I believe is morally correct. And I also wanted to share a very, very deep heart thank you to Senator Iden. So thank you. Thank you for being responsible and for doing what's right. The Senate is elected to represent the student body. Senator Iden has shown us all what that means. He's done us all a service. He has shown us what it means to be a servant of the people and an elected official meant to represent the students. He saw something was wrong and he spoke out about it. I just want to say that I want to encourage all of us to lead with that in the future. Lead with it in our professional lives, lead with it in our Senate, the rest of what we have left, lead with it in our personal lives. We should all lead with that going forward. That's all I have. Thank you. And I'm not taking questions.
Will you be accepting questions?
Yeah, actually, I will.
All right. Do you have any questions? Senator Shaw?
Hi, Leah. Would you be comfortable if I motion to move into discussion under Robert's Rules of Order on Senator Tyler Iden's report, as I know this is a personal topic to you?
Yes. I don't know if Senator Iden has a question for me or he just wants to move into reports, but yeah.
Senator Iden?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Senator Hosseini, how does that make you feel when someone talks about you like that?
I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't feel great. It actually doesn't, it obviously doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great that I have to keep like proving myself as a senator. I have to keep proving myself as a person because of my ideological, my political beliefs and my religion. It doesn't feel great to know that this body of elected officials who the student body put trust in. That's what voting is, right? It's like you vote to put trust in the officials that we elect. So the trust of the student body really is in all of our hands, and to know that that trust has been violated, at least for me,
we're at time.
Is
you can wrap
really
up.
sad. Yeah, that's all I have. It's just, yeah, it's disheartening. Thank you for the question.
Senator Shaw?
Senator Chair, I move into a discussion under Robert's Rules of Order on the Senator Tyler Iden's report.
Sure. I hear your motion, but I would like to finish public comment first. Holly, I just want to make sure before we like move into something else. Holly, do we have anyone else?
No, unless there's anyone in attendees that has a last call, but that's it for our list.
Okay. All right. There has been a motion made to enter a discussion under Robert's Rules of Order on Senator Iden's report. Senator Gerson?
Oh, I didn't know how to join public forum, but also that's fine. I can talk during the report.
Oh, I mean, if you would like to sign up during public forum, like right now, that's fine too. Senator
No,
Shaw,
it's okay.
would you like to rescind your motion so we can continue public forum?
No, Chair.
All right. Senator Iden?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Iden. We are now discussion. Senator Amin?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Assent.
All right. I guess we're now moving into discussion about Senator Iden's report. I would also, again, like to ask people to be very mindful. I understand that a lot of this covers sensitive material, but we are in a state right now of surveillance, which means a lot of people getting doxxed. And when it comes to interpersonal matters, I would like to say that I am a massive advocate for restorative justice and for nuanced conversation. So I just wanted to put that out there. Yes, Senator Iden.
I just want to say how disappointed I am in your response to all of this, because it's only become an issue until someone else is holding you accountable for things that you said. You have had no interest in preventing the comments and the way people have treated other senators and each other this entire year. You've been one of the individuals perpetrating it. And now you go, we should be careful about how we discuss this. When the entire year you should have been careful about how you've watched over us. You've just completely let this slide. I understand that all these other senators have a responsibility as well, but you're the internal vice president. It is extremely disappointing that now you're going, be careful, it's public. It's only an issue when it's public. It makes me outraged. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Garcetti?
I want to follow up with that by saying I agree. I am also all for restorative justice. I think restorative justice is the way to go. It is disheartening to see that while myself and my other fellow Jewish senators were being harassed and bullied allegedly in this group chat, there was no one sticking up for us except Senator Iden. Like, it's so hurtful to me that it took this long for someone to stand up for me in a space where I couldn't stand up for myself. I wasn't a part of that group chat. I don't care to be a part of it, but the fact that there were comments made about me and no one cared to stick up for another human being who just happened to have different political views, except for Senator Iden, is really disheartening to me. And it shows me that there's just so much learning left to do, and I'm more than happy to help with that learning. I love having conversations, and I encourage all of you guys or whoever wants to please have a conversation with me, and then we can go forward from there. But I just wanted to share that for the only person to be Senator Iden out of a 17-person group chat it hurts my feelings. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to save my comments for last. I would also like to clarify, I have not been in this group chat for a really long time, and I have had many asides with the alleged individuals. Thank you so much, Holly, for adding that in. Who raised their hand first? Senator Gerson?
I just wanted to also obviously talk about everything going on, and wanted to start also by saying thank you to Senator Iden for being a voice of honesty and integrity and morality. This year has been a complicated one in the Senate, to say the least. And going into Senate last year, I kind of approached this role with an open mind and, more importantly, with compassion. I treated my fellow senators with kindness and respect. And it's very disheartening to see now that this was just not reciprocated. And not only that, but while I attempted to foster connections and build relationships to work together and to make the school a better place, they were actively tearing me down behind the scenes. Oftentimes, like in the Senate, I've heard many people talk about wanting to stand up for marginalized communities and wanting to make a change and have people's voices be heard. And I think, like, if anything, this just shows how much silencing has taken place and how much bullying and how much discrimination. And to see that no one's responded and that no one wants to kind of take accountability or say, I'm sorry, like a simple I'm sorry, is crazy. Like, again, I'm not saying like any intent, I'm not saying like, I truly believe like, okay, these comments may have happened, but like maybe we're moving forward and we're trying to do better things, but there's just no accountability taking place and there's no recognition of what's happening. And I just really can't believe how hypocritical all the statements that are being made just kind of like show about several of the senators that claim to stand up for people and to treat people with kindness and respect. like that's not kindness or respect. Behind the scenes or not behind the scenes, like at the end of the day, like that's just how you treat people as people. Um, I don't know. Honestly, like I can't even form the words. Like I'm outraged. Like if you want to know how I feel completely blindsided, completely attacked, completely abandoned by the entire senators, the 17 senators in the room except Taylor, and the association, and the fact that just like nothing's being done, and the fact that in the chat, there's really just like nothing. Like people are so ready to like move past it as if it's nothing, like because it's not affecting you, but um just wanted to know that it is affecting us. If you care, might not. But yeah, that's my rant.
All right, thank you. Senator Siddiqui?
So obviously, I wasn't prepared to speak on this today. I apologize for not having my camera on. I prepared to give a personal speech in my personal testimony at the Judicial Council hearing this Friday, and I plan to address the Senate next Wednesday in person once we return there. I didn't know this conversation was going to be brought up here. Um, this response is not comprehensive of everything I want to say at all. Frankly, my mind is all over the place. So I'm just going to address the points that were brought up and share my perspective. There was several things said about me and then also alleged about other senators and the Senate leadership and the internal vice president um, regarding Instagram group chats. What I can say is that I think the points that Senator Iden brings up about viciousness and this culture of like toxicity and bullying in the Senate, I agree, it exists. I thought it existed last year. I think it exists this year, and I wish I was giving this speech in person, so all of you could see me. And I plan to give a much more comprehensive speech the next time we all meet together as senators. Um, but for some context about myself, and Dr. Marquez and those who have been around will know this, but I started out in Senate as a proxy last year, and you could say I was well within the ideological minority of the Senate at the time. I had frequent experience being kicked out of meetings due to not following procedural rules, being silenced due not to following Robert's rules, and other tactics that were used at the time to disenfranchise me. I believe the culture in Senate last year also resembled a lot of the things that Senator Iden brought up. And I'm not bringing up these facts to say that, oh, the last Senate did it, that means it's okay for us to do it. It's unacceptable when it happens no matter what. And I myself also want to say, I think I take some sort of accountability in this as first pro temp. I think I've heard a lot of other comments being said about other senators who I politically or personally disagree with. And I've stayed silent and not done anything about it because I thought it would threaten my political position. And for that, I was wrong. And I probably should have acted differently in a lot of cases. I don't know specifically which text message Senator Iden alluded to that I sent. I would have to go back and look to reciprocate the full context. But what I can say out of my knowledge is that I have not been active in the Senate in the whatever the Instagram chat was um, for months. So I don't remember the context of that message, and I'd like to go back and read it. But if it happened to be the case that I said or did anything offensive to another senator, I wholeheartedly apologize to them and anyone else who's offended. And I'd be more than happy to see whatever else it is I could do to ease their concerns and remedy the harm done on my part. Um, I want to make this one point before I move on to the next thing I'm going to say, which is that I also think that, when we're talking about private group chats, I agree. A lot of the conduct that happened was unacceptable. However, I don't think, I think if we were to expose the private group chats of a lot of different bodies, city council, state legislatures, I think when you expose the contents of private chats, it's obvious that those things are not distributed to the public. The last point that I want to really address was about the sharing of documents, the sharing of a document from the Office of the Attorney General. I want to issue some clarifications on that. So I was sent over the document by someone else. It is true that I shared it with a few individuals. The individuals that I shared it with in a professional staff meeting with advisors, I did not share with them the entire docket case of the Attorney General. What I shared with them was an interview transcript that I'd also gotten access to that someone sent to me. And the reason why I shared that is because in the conversation, questions over the current conflict and the tension surrounding campus came up. And I had a moment where I was conversing with them and I sent that link. And at the time, I thought that was the thing to do. In hindsight, now I can realize that was wrong and that was not mine to share. However, that interview document, I believe, did not, it was not the full case from the Attorney General. In regards to sharing documents with other members of the body, after I received that document, frankly, I was scared personally. I believe that document, the way it was written to me, very much came across as a targeted attack against Senate leaders and specifically me, and I think other people as well. And I didn't send it to the entire Senate. I didn't publicize it or make it entities wide. I sent it to specific senators and individuals who I genuinely believed would be in danger either due to their documentation status or other reasons. And I genuinely believe that at the time. That doesn't make what I did acceptable, but that is the reason as to why I did it. In regard to allegations with the Nexus, I have no idea where that is coming from. I've never sent any of these documents over to KCSB or the Nexus, even though they've both been asking me for it. And I think if I did, frankly, both of them would report on it because it's grade A news. So I don't really know where that came from. But this is not all encompassing of everything I have to say. I just felt like I had to address this because those were the points that were brought up, and I yield.
All right, thank you. Senator Butler.
Hello. Yeah, my mind is a little bit all over the place. And usually when I like to have my voice heard, I like it to be articulate and digestible. But I have a lot of feelings and emotions right now, some conflicting ones. Let me turn on my camera so you guys can all see me. I'm just at my kitchen table. Anyways, I have a lot of feelings right now, and I'm policing them as we speak because we're live streamed and we're on the record. But definitely have some points that I want to make known for sure. So first, I want to recognize and acknowledge anyone on this Senate who's felt isolated, has felt their voice not heard, has felt sidelined, and with any matter, and that's just period, point blank. That's my principle. I'm firm that I do not believe the Senate floor is a place for bullying, retaliation, obstruction. We're a legislative branch. We're legislators. We have a lot of power. And I feel like some of this dialogue and conversation is extremely harmful, especially since we're seeing a snapshot of a really large picture in a very long story. And if someone who's hearing these large accusations or getting called out on a live recording are hearing this, it's going to have large extremities and large effects. And that's what's happened today. And it's hard to one, articulate, and then begin to understand and comprehend this, one live, one being recorded, and then with all of us here. I don't think that's the intention of the Senate. We're supposed to be discussing our legislation and helping move through this organization and uplift other students and student groups. I'm a heavy believer in restorative justice and utilizing all of the resources that we have available, like the Judicial Council, like Title IX, like all of our advisors. But the fact that we now have to rehash, debate, criticize, something is unfortunate. But I do want to affirm everybody's feelings and recognize that they're all valid, they're all true, you're all seen and heard. Associated Students and the Senate specifically is home to a lot of denial, all of the isms. I wouldn't doubt that every single person in this whole Zoom call, all the participants, has felt hurt by the Senate, has felt oppressed by the Senate. I've personally been called scary by Senate. Not this Senate, but the Senate. Yeah, and it's sad to see. This is week 4 of my senior year, and the end of my term. And I am policing what I fully want to say because of the weight of this, and because all of the people involved, and because of the lack of trust with all of the colleagues. But yeah, I felt like my voice needed to be heard. I needed to name those things. And I wish I had a more elaborate response for you all, but that's what I have to say today. I yield.
Okay, thank you. Senator Singh, I'm trying to promote you to panelist. You need to accept it. It said that you just declined. There we go. Yay. We fixed it. All right. Thank you. Dr. Marquez?
Thank you. And I don't have anything prepared for you all on this topic. I do want to appreciate the opportunity to address you all. I haven't had an opportunity to see you all in weeks due to being out on a health matter. And so for me, the best I can do is to remind you all that we are here, that I'm here, that I could sit with any one of you all to prepare to prepare yourselves for whatever next happens in any of your lives. I think in the moment like this, it's important to remember this is a public meeting. This has been said several times. I'm fully aware that you know that you're running an instrument here in the public and for the public. And so that's important. It's also important to know that this may or may not actually be on your agenda, and exactly how this fits into any one of the agenda items is something that the chair and the Senate leadership need to address. As people, I think I think as Alexa was just saying, Senator Butler was just identifying, a lot of us have experienced being lied about, and our histories being erased, and we have a common bond on that, across age, across time, and we can do something about it. And so the beauty of the Student Senate and the beauty of Associated Students is that it's by and for students. And so if this is not ideal, and it doesn't seem to be, I haven't been with you all for weeks, but let's change it. Let's change it so that it does actually mirror back some truth, some reality that is different than this. And for that, I am always available. That's always what I've done. I'll also mention that it's important to protect folks that cannot speak for themselves. And as I've done in the past, I've read statements from folks that feel very threatened in moments like this. And I can offer that as well as upcoming. I'll publish the my upcoming open office hours, and I could sit with anyone, as I have been actually for about a week. Been working with folks that are feeling quite burdened by all of this. That's my statement, and I'll invite the chair to take me up on it as well.
Great, thank you. Senator Lankarani?
Hi. I just wanted to come on here to say, today I went to an event that was hosted by Lana Smith Hale, the assistant ombuds, and Caitlin Andrade, the head of the restorative justice program. And they held a really great panel about restorative justice, what that is, and as well as conflict resolution. And it was really refreshing being able to talk to admin and talking about the steps that students and staff alike can take to make things right when they have done wrong. I will admit, I've been bullied, and I've also been a bully. And to the people I've harmed, I've reached out, I've sent some emails. And I just want to say to my fellow senators, I want to be an example that taking accountability doesn't have a deadline. If you've hurt someone, you have all the time in the world to make up for it. And that probably wasn't worded right, but there's never a perfect time for anything, but it's always a good time to say that you're sorry. It's always a good time to take accountability for the things you say or the things you've done, because we owe it to our fellow senators, our fellow students, our fellow staff to do the right thing and take accountability when we have hurt others. Dean Becerra is a wonderful resource to talk to, as well as Marissa and Dr. Marquez. And I just really hope that as a Senate and as fellow students, we can facilitate dialogue and hopefully come to, I don't know, but I just want to say that we deserve respect no matter where we come from. And I am sorry for not standing by that in the past.
Thank you. Senator Iden? Wait, I'm sorry. I think Senator Gerson was first.
No, she lowered her hand.
No, her hand is still up. Senator Gerson, did you want to go next?
No, Senator Iden can go before me. That's okay.
Senator Iden?
Thank you. I just really want to say like how much like Senator Lankarani's message actually means to me, because like that is the approach you should be taking when it comes to something like this. It sucks, and like I understand like I was extremely aggressive in a lot of the way as I was coming out, because I'm mad. I've been really upset the entire year. It's an extremely upsetting thing to have to witness and have to deal with and have to think like, oh, I know these people, like should I say something or I not? But like some of these people are my friends, and it's a weird thing to have to grapple with internally. And I got to a point personally where it's like I can't not say anything. And I really hope you all can understand that. And then when I did try and pursue through the appropriate routes, I had my whole anonymity. It was all gonna, for the most part, it was gonna be handled internally. That was taken away from me. And then it's disappointing to hear how, like, because we have like seriously, I really appreciate sounding like Ronnie. Like be accountable. Like I genuinely don't think anyone is a bad person. I don't think that of anyone. People fuck up. I fuck up. Like I say things about people I don't actually mean, or maybe I do at the time, but like it's about like after the fact. Don't laugh and talk to someone else on a Zoom meeting and laugh and not pay attention when it's a very intense topic, especially when it pertains to yourself. Like it's a very important discussion that you should be paying attention to in the moment, like right now. But instead, you just want to not pay attention, which is unreal to me because this is such an insane discussion. Like this is a horrible thing that has happened, horrible things that have been said, and by just not giving it the attention it deserves, it's just displaying to me at least that you just have no intention of accountability. But it's the same thing when it's like, just own up to it. Like, don't delete your messages and kick me out of the group chat and say, oh, well, we'll see. We can check. I have copies of everything. Like, I have copies of all the group chat before and after, before people started deleting their messages. And then to remove me, it just shows you don't care. Like, you're just trying to cover your own ass. Like, just be accountable. I don't think you're bad people. Like, just do the right thing and own up to it. Everyone fucks up sometimes. I get it. Like, I fucked up. Like, but it's okay. Like, I don't know. Just give this discussion the attention, like the consideration it deserves. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Senator Gerson?
Yeah, I just wanted to say again, just a few more points that I've just been thinking and kind of like noticing as this meeting's gone along. First, no one's addressed Senator Sandy or Senator Amin or I personally, directly and said an apology. And you've said, "Oh, I'm sorry to people I've heard. I'm sorry to the people this is affected." But like, if you weren't afraid to say our names in the chats behind our backs, like you can say it to our face, just one. Um, what I have heard is this has been taken out of context, and that some people at one point, that everyone at one point has felt bullied, and which I understand, but don't minimize this. Like, this is not something normal, and this is not something small, and this is not something that just happens to anyone. This is something dramatic. Like, this is something that clearly warrants an investigation of an association. It carries weight and it affects people in real time. Me, Leah, Jasmine, and so on. And all the other people who feel silenced and small because of this. And to be honest, just people seem more concerned with the fact that this meeting is public than with the actual wrongdoings that occurred. People are more concerned with those that are feeling burdened by this rather than those who were actually targeted by this, which I just find to be crazy. Like, obviously, it's not going to feel good that this is coming out. It's bad. But people should be concerned with, oh, the people who were genuinely targeted by all of these things. Also, the people who now is coming out and they have to take accountability, as they should, and I appreciate those who have. But this discussion is going in a way where people are kind of just trying to almost make excuses as to what happened. And what I think we all need to do is focus the conversation on taking accountability, making an apology, and seeing how can we move forward in this association so that not only this does not happen again, but that we also treat it with the respect that it deserves, and that as we move forward, we continue to let everyone's voices be heard and not instead silence some. Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna yield chairship to Senator Siddiqui. But I would like to say, usually we do spend around 30 minutes on discussion items. I do feel like this deserves more time and attention. But we only have Michael here for a certain amount of time. And we really need to get into talking about our budget and formalizing a plan. So, I want to ask the rest of the people that have their hands up if y'all would like to get back into discussion later on. We can motion to enter discussion again after. But this is a pressing matter and Michael is only here for a specific period of time. So Senator Amin, Senator Chrisandy, would y'all be okay with returning to this conversation later on?
Um, Honestly, my comment will only take like 30 seconds max. I feel like if maybe me and Senator Amin could just speak and then we'll move on from there. I don't think it'll take a lot of time. I just feel like this is happening now.
Great.
It's fresh in our minds.
Okay, that sounds good.
Is that all right with you? Okay.
Senator
thank you.
Siddiqui, I'm yielding chairship to you, so I can take a point of personal privilege.
Senator Hosseini.
Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to say that I know this is public facing meeting, which is why I'm making this point right now. Also,
I think she just got booted from the meeting, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to Senator Amin while we wait.
Okay. I'm happy to give her the floor when she comes back. But I feel like there's obviously a lot to be said, and I think we can definitely all speak more on this later. I think it's been really disheartening to listen to a lot of the things that have been said in this meeting right now. For people to say that, oh, this would happen in any group chat, or for people to talk about how they're also a minority, so it's okay for them to say things like that, or be part of a group that would say things like that. I just am in shock that these are the things that people are saying right now when this is brought to the table. After everything that Taylor had to say, this is the automatic is defensive and, oh, this is why I could say it, instead of that shouldn't have happened. And I apologize for what I took part in, other than Senator like Ronnie, who came on here and did say that.
Sorry, go ahead, Senator.
Okay, thank you. Part of why hearing Senator Iden's speech was so wow to me was because we all spend so much time together. We spend at least 7, 8 hours a week together, sometimes more, sometimes till 3 o'clock in the morning. I understand that a lot of you would not consider me a friend or anything that looks like that, I guess, from what I've been hearing. But to hear that not a single person in a group chat of 17 people had anything to say in my defense after spending this much time with me and getting to know me as a human behind just the, oh, like, I don't like that girl, she's a Zionist. You also know me as a person. I'm 100% a Zionist. It's pretty obvious. I've lived in Israel. Like, that's part of who I am. But there's so much more to that. And so to hear the disgusting things that people have had to say about me after knowing me and speaking to me and spending hours and hours and hours a week with me is so, like, hurtful doesn't even begin to describe the word. And if you guys have spent so much time with me, you also know that I'm not an emotional person. But this made me emotional. I have a lot more to say, and I'll wait to say it because I know we have other things to get to. But genuinely appalling that this is the response that you guys have for me right now. I yield.
Before I yield chairship back to IVP Pinto, I'm going to make a quick comment that takes less than 30 seconds. I don't believe the comments that I said were saying that anything that I said is an excuse because I'm a minority, because of my skin color, my religion, or anything. What I was saying is that I think there's a toxic culture in Senate. I think that I have played a part in it this year by being a bystander in a lot of instances and things that I may have even said. And I think that a very similar culture has existed in previous senates and existed in the past senates. And what I was saying is that I had once, or at least to me, I felt like I was a victim of that. And coming into this position, I do feel like I've perpetuated a lot of the same harms that I felt like I faced in the past year. That's what I was saying. I was not trying to say that because of my status as a minority, it's okay for me to say anything that I want. Frankly, to be honest, there's been a lot of points made tonight, specifically at me, and like I just was not prepared for this discussion or to address these points. And frankly, I don't think anyone else in my situation, if you just got onto a Zoom and you heard, all of these things being said about you, that you would just be automatically prepared to respond to each and every single one and have the perfect response. So I apologize if I'm not doing that, but I want to characterize and contextualize and clarify the point of what I said. Senator Horsandi?
Dan, that wasn't specifically pointed at you.
Okay,
Hold
thank
up,
you.
don't have the floor.
Oh, sorry. Wait, sorry guys. My computer died right when I was about to speak, of course. Okay. I wanted
It's
to wrap
okay.
this up.
Senator Corsendi,
Oh.
just again, just be mindful of time.
Yes, I swear
We're
I will be
expecting
super
admin
fast.
to speak, so.
Okay, yes. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, as we wrap this discussion up, I just want to kind of like make everyone aware of what today is that is significant to me. So today is Holocaust Remembrance Day, Yom HaShoah. So this day means a lot to me and a lot to a lot of other Jews. By the way, not comparing the scenarios because I hate when people do that, but I would just like to speak on the cultural significance of it, and why it's important to me. So this day makes me think about how important it is that we take time to think about people who could not speak for themselves, were discriminated against. And when I reflect upon this day, and I invite my fellow senators to do this as well, I realize how important it is to take accountability, which is why I want to say thank you to Senator Lincoln Romney. Thank you to any senator who has specifically apologized directly to the people that have been hurt by this and who have spoken and voiced concern. So Holocaust Remembrance Day really, really makes me think about how important taking accountability is and how important it is to respect one another. And when we operate with respect, life just goes easier. So I hope as we move on from this discussion and we continue to talk about it in future meetings, we take this as a learning opportunity for us all. Let's all learn from this, like we learned from the Holocaust on this very special day, which is Holocaust Remembrance Day. Let's take this as a learning opportunity and go forward with respect and with accountability. Thank you.
All right, Director Marquez.
Thanks. I want to reiterate a few points. First of all, that the chair may want to put into chat really what the audience is really experiencing here. One of the prime motives and principles of restorative justice is not causing more harm, and people on this call may be experiencing additional trauma, and it's my responsibility to make sure that this doesn't continue because we don't know the effect. We do this all, you all taught me this. You have a content warning if there's going to be something that's going to affect someone in a way that we can't predict, that I can't predict, and that we're also broadcasting. So in an effort to remind us that what we're discussing here, this is not a restorative circle. This is not a restorative justice process. It's a much more time consuming and more thorough effort, and not in this forum. And as someone who respects you tremendously, I would never stop you. In fact, that's my dissertation topic. That's what I wrote about. That's what I'm a scholar in, is making sure that everyone feels that there is a place and a space. And there are levels of trauma that I'm not a specialist in that, but I do know that we can cause more harm than we expect. And obviously levels of harm are ongoing. Obviously, that you all are a community. And in that sense, that's who we harm. We harm the folks that we love the most, the folks that are closest to us most often. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can stop. We can stop. And so that's my effort again, to remind, as staff are sharing on screen and in the chat box, for anyone who's listening, there are resources through UCSB. There are resources for for support and really to bring to conclusion a very, very, very troubling conversation like this is almost impossible because of all those layers. So I invite the chair to take a break and take at least 5 minutes where we can process for ourselves and our communities, as well as come back together to do some work, because that's what you all wanted to put on the agenda for today, and that's your right. But I do want to share that when I say that we can make it better, we can make it better, but it takes a lot of work, and I'm committed to that work, as you are, clearly. And let's do that. Let's do that in private. Let's do it in public. Let's do it any way that you want, but let's do it together. So if you could take that as a suggestion, I'd greatly appreciate it, because it's really important for ourselves. Does that make sense? I am not certain who's chairing right
Yeah,
at the
I'm
moment.
chairing. Sorry. I was making sure that Senator Mahis could return as a panelist. Thank you so much, Dr. Marquez. I think all of those things are really important to note. And yeah, please look into all of these resources that Marissa has put into the chat. For panelists, I can also forward them if I can have some assistance from the pro temps to putting them into the more public participants chat, that'd be great. These conversations are really heavy, which is why I say that I am a massive advocate for restorative justice. And as I've said before, in these harmful comments, I have navigated them person by person basis. I've had in-depth conversations with every single person that has said these things in my presence about being mindful of each other, because, as Dr. Marquez has put so eloquently, we often hurt the most the people closest to us. So that is always something really important to note. And this is a space where we are all still learning and still growing. We are young people at a university. And I think it's really important to take all of these moments into consideration and really move forward with them in a way that allows for things like accountability, responsibility, and a sense of greater empathy towards each other. So thank you so much. I would really like to move on. I promised Michael that he would have the floor, and that we would go into discussion about the proposed budget for the upcoming school year. Because this conversation is sensitive, I believe we do have to go into closed session. But the attendees will Holly, please correct me if I'm wrong. The attendees will be more so on like standby in like a waiting room, and they'll be allowed back in, correct?
Yes, I believe so. I may have to ask Sean to help me how to do that, but we'll figure it out.
Senator Jean.
Thank you, Chair. I fully agree with your point of we need to hear Associated Director for Finance sales report. But before that, would you mind we move into a recess as Dr. McKay mentioned?
All right. Would you like to make a motion for that? Okay.
I moved into a recess until 8:25 p.m.
Michael, really quickly, is this time okay for you?
Yeah, I'm here for you guys. I don't have an awful lot of time, but I don't think we'll take more than an hour or hour and a half. I'm here for that. And if you go into recess now, I'll be available when you get back.
All right. Thank you so much for your leniency, and for, understanding the nature of the situation. So there's been a motion to go into recess until 8:25. Do we have a second? Senator Amin?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Amin. We are now in discussion. Senator Wahidullah,
Call the question.
question has been called. Do we have any objections? All right. Motion passes. I will see you all again in about 11 minutes. And also, please look into all of these resources. I will be copy pasting them into the greater body chat. I will see you all again in 11 minutes.